Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be back again at this conference. Now, the presentation I'm going to do today is going to be very different, and it's an original idea by Andrew, actually, who said, why don't you talk about the SENSIO experience and give some lesson about, from the industry. So I'm not academia, I'm really industry perspective, so I come with that kind of point of view. And we were in the middle of it when 3D TVs crashed and a lot of things crashed. And so I'm going to bring you kind of like an internal perspective of it. It's my opinion, doesn't engage anybody else, but it's our view of what happened. So founded SENSIO in 1999. So yeah, this is that made me feel very, very old when I put that picture on. And at that time, we're obviously much younger than I am today, and I was very keen on bringing 3D to the masses. So I grew up with Viewmasters. I loved watching these pictures. It truly connected me to the different moments. And like a lot of people, well, I kind of fell in love with the experience. And that would be lesson number one. Don't fall in love with 3D. So that lesson, and the funny thing is, that happened. It was in the very early days of SENSIO, and we were showcasing in LA in the basement of whatever, it was a 3D film festival at that time. And Chris Condon, who's a legend in 3D and invented a format that really got the revival in the 1970s of 3D. And he came downstairs and said, okay, so show me what you have to show me. And we started and said, why are you in 3D? I said, well, when I was a young kid, I fell in love with 3D, and looks at me and said, don't fall in love with 3D. And I swear to God, that's how it happened. And it was really funny, but that's very scary at the same time. So why not fall in love with 3D? Well, the main reason is because when you fall in love with the experience, you're very, very forgiving about the experience, right? You say, oh, if 3D, like if I fall in love with this, if it works, then yeah, let's bring it to the market, right? Everybody's gonna fall in love the same way I fall in love with it. Wrong, totally wrong. Like, people don't care about 3D that much. They love it when it's done right, but if it's done wrong, they will give it up so quick, you have no idea. So falling in love with 3D, like, it prevents you from being very critical about the experience that you're bringing. And we have to be that critical if we want this to be a success at some point on a massive scale. Now, phase one, when we founded SENSIO, we decided to go on the consumer hardware side. So basically just making a very high-end processor. It was pretty sleek. I mean, it looked good. And we were selling this to the very high-end home theaters, people that spend minimum $30,000 at that time, so, and upwards of $1 million in their own system. So it was a very high-end thing. We worked our way up. We were very naive, very young, but very determined and very stubborn. We were able to get movies. We got our format in the DVD standard. So we were like, the SENSIO Hi-Fi 3D format is the only format recognized in the DVD standard. So very old, but still, we're proud of that. And so we were able to get some movies at first from independent, and the whole thesis was if we get a few movies from dormant movies that are doing nothing, anyways, they're doing nothing. So bringing some revenues is better than bringing no revenues. So we went and we got some IMAX independent titles, and we were able to get to Robert Rodriguez, and he saw the demonstration, loved it, and called and make sure that we had a deal with Disney at that time, and we were able to distribute Spy Kids 3D in full color, not in anaglyph. So that was really, really cool. So this was very interesting up to the moment when, but I'll go into it in the next slide, but up to the moment when Chicken Little happened right after the surprise success, well, the fantastic success of Polar Express. And Polar Express, like a lot of people put 3D with Avatar, but it's really Polar Express that did it. because at that time studios were trying to get digital inside theaters, didn't know how to get it in, and they found, because Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks, they wanted this to be a 3D movie, and the studio said, no, it's not worth it, etc. And they said, okay, we're going to pay for the 3D version, but we're going to keep all the earnings from the 3D version. And said, yeah, sure, whatever, if you want to waste your money. And they made a lot of money. It's one of the biggest deals that they were able to make. But then the studios paid attention and said, okay, we're going to move now to 3D. This is our big selling shot. We're going to get theaters to convert to digital, because now they're going to have that format that's attracting all the people. And that's how it works. It's never artistic. It's always about the money. If you come from the industry, you kind of figure that part out. So anyways, lesson number 2, from the days of presenting it inside, demo or die. Demo or die. And in 3D, a lot of people think that 3D in 3D TVs didn't work out because of the glasses. And glasses are a problem. From our perspective, it was not the problem. It was a problem. But the biggest problem with glasses was the fact that you could not demo it in a retail store. You couldn't. It just, if you don't do a good demonstration, if people don't see it, you cannot sell it. And in today's age of everybody buying, from the web, right? So how do you demo 3D? How do you get people excited about 3D? That's a very big question for today and for, whatever comes up next. And content is king, and you need a lot of it. Like, you can see our nice looking, very cute little rack there. That's like, when you go on Netflix and you can go down forever and go left and right forever and see tons of different titles, when you have like, oh, we've got 25 titles. Not that impressive, even at that time. So a lot of 3D content, and content that people care about. So that I'll tackle a little bit later. Third phase, well, then, Disney came to us and said, you can no longer have our titles. So we had to say, okay, so what do we do now, right? So we went to a licensing model. So 2 things happened at the same time. We said, okay, we're going to go straight to licensing. It was always in our plan. But we said, we're going to take our technology. It's a proven technology. It delivers very high quality. So we're going to sell it as royalty-based licensing model with the TV manufacturers and the chip makers. And in the meantime, because, long freaking sales cycle, so what are you going to do? We need to do something. We need to be in the market. So we said, what are we good at? We're good at delivering super high quality with existing bandwidth. And where do they have that kind of requirement? Theaters, and doing live in theaters. They didn't have at that time, they were delivering with hard disk or through satellite, they were delivering the 3D movies, but they couldn't deliver live 3D. And we went head to head, and we were that small company from Montreal, but we were able to go head to head with RealD and all the other big guys, and we were able to win. So our technology was deployed globally. We did live 3D, we did the deal with FIFA, we were the distributors of the 2010 World Cup with the infamous vuvuzelas that gave us so many headaches, because in theaters you can imagine how it sounded. it was impressive but so annoying. But anyways, we did a lot of live 3D, and it was a lot of fun. And 2 major lessons that we drew from this. First, providing quality 3D content is hard. And this is the basis of what we're doing now with Cubic Space. Because imagine, like, all the, like, you sort of talked yesterday by Katie, where she explained the process of doing a 3D movie, making sure that everything is perfect, etc. You're doing live soccer and basketball. Like, you don't have that luxury. It's like, shoot, and better be good. Like, let's hope. And that's what was happening all the time. We were always praying that it would look good, but realized that it was really harder than it should have been. The second one, lesson number 5, if people care about the content, they will be there, but they need to care about that content. It's not about 3D, it's about the content. Like some people ask me, with our technology, why don't you do an Instagram of 3D? Well, because people don't want to see 3D. They want to see cats in 3D. But it's ridiculous, but that's what it is. 3D is not, people don't care about the format, they care about the content. So if you don't have the right content in the format, then you won't get people. But when you get the right content, we had people watching the live NBA All-Star game on the West Coast. They were watching that live at 3 a.m. in France, and the places were full, completely full. And of course, they were selling alcohol and all that good stuff. But they had people very excited, and they had lineups, and they had to refuse people, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. This is not the normal thing. Well, deliver the right experience, the right content in the right format, and then they will be there. So as I said, we were doing tech licensing. I'm trying to go fast because I see that clock ticking, and we're already late. Tech licensing was exciting as well. So tech licensing, we were approaching all the chip makers and all the TV makers. It was a nasty business as well. I mean, as soon as there's money and there's people involved, there's a lot of fights. We were at the Blu-ray Disc Association fighting it off with RealD and Dolby, and I won't mention all the cheap shots that were done there, and people play dirty when there's big money involved. And we were in the middle of that, but we had a lot of fun. We signed a deal with Vizio. We were automatically inside their TVs, and then from that point on, we signed with all the different chip makers, and were able to make our way inside different types of devices. So. Lesson number 6, quality is not a priority, 3D is enough mentality is a major threat, okay? This is a big problem. It's a big problem that we've been facing for a very long time. It's a problem that we will continue facing. Remember Clash of the Titans, right? As soon as money's involved and there's an opportunity, somebody says, yeah, I can do it for half the cost and it's gonna be great. And people say, okay, do it for me. Greed. Greed is very, very dangerous for our industry because it's so easy to mess up. And if we don't stand together, and if we don't set standards, and we don't talk to people and the media and don't do the education that is required, we're going to fall in the same pit again. Somebody's going to come out with hey, I've got this new 3D display and full of ghosting and misaligned and all that stuff. And you know what? People are going to buy it, and they say, oh, that's 3D's problem, not that cheap company's product problem. It's 3D's problem. And we have to be very careful with that, very, very careful with that. Number 7, it's all about retail. Remember number 2, which is demo or die, right? So one of the big problems that you have is when they were trying to sell active TVs in retail. One of the things, when there was an association that was created, and I was promoting, I was begging everyone to get Walmart, get Best Buy, get everybody on board and say, we need these guys in. Because when you sell a 3D TV, what do people see? You walk in the alley, the first thing you see is a blurry TV and a very sharp TV. Which one do you want, right? You want a sharp TV, not the blurry TV. Okay, so say you're savvy enough, you know it's a 3D TV. Okay, so I want to watch it in 3D. And then you say, okay, where are the glasses? No glasses. Oh, there's no content on. Oh, okay, I've got the glasses. I put them on. It doesn't work. Well, the batteries are dead. Or the battery, so many, that's why I said, glasses in retail is a big, big, big problem because people walk by, they don't have time, they're in a hurry, they see a blurry TV and they buy the other one. So be very, very conscious of that. Lesson number 8, industries should focus on growing the pie, not their piece of it. Well, yeah, I'm going to say it that way. Stupidest deal ever done at the dawn of 3D TV was Panasonic signing an exclusive deal with James Cameron. You had to buy a freaking Panasonic TV to buy Avatar. If you didn't buy the Panasonic TV, you couldn't get Avatar. The one title that got it all there, now you have to buy a Panasonic TV. Is everybody going to start changing their habits just because you have that deal? No. The only thing you're doing is you're destroying the perceived value for the market globally. This kind of greed is a very, very bad idea. Instead, don't do these kind of deals. Find another way of trying to make your mark, but don't kill the golden goose before it had the chance to lay some eggs, right? So that was a very, very dumb decision. So we should be focusing on growing the pie altogether. So the last thing we did, oh geez, 11 seconds. Okay, was 3D Go. 3D Go was a VOD service. We had deals with all the big studios, and we were delivering these titles to smart 3D TVs. It was a really beautiful product, but we launched too late, and by that time, none of the TV manufacturers cared anymore and didn't support all of the marketing that we're supposed to do. So they didn't put us on the boxes like they said they would, on the remote controls, etc. They had already moved on. So it was bad timing, too bad, but it was a beautiful product. But lesson number 9, people don't want to watch 3D, they want to watch their favorite movies in 3D. So that's important. Like we had, and you can see it at the bottom right, you know, lots of our movies were animated movies. That's what was coming out. So some people that love 3D, they didn't want any kids movie. I don't think of them as kids movie, but still, you know, that's the feedback that we got. So that's a problem. Like we didn't have enough variety to keep people interested. And number 10, 3D needs to be part of a daily routine. We had one update every week. One update every week is not enough when people go daily on this and they watch something. So if we don't change the habit, people will not create it. At the time of 3D TVs, if you don't have enough variety of content, people just won't make it part of their daily routine, and they will forget about it. They will forget that they have the glasses. They'll forget everything they're set up. So that's very important that if it's done again, that it will be done right. So I'm going to skip lesson 11 because time is flying. Waves are not enough. You need commitment. This is the difference between VR, for example, and 3D TVs. 3D TVs were not a category. 3D was a feature of TVs. Very easy to put in, very easy to drop, right? XR, I mean, if you don't use your MetaQuest 3 to do VR, what do you use it for, right? So, but you have somebody that has deep pockets, deeply committed to make it work. If you want this to be sustainable, you need to invest yourself. And lastly, it takes a village. Don't do it alone. That's a reflex everybody has. Like, I need to sell the display. So because I need to sell a display, I will also make software. I will also make, I'll get the movies. I'll do, like, everybody tries to do everything all at once because for their element of the chain, they will try to push everything. So anyway, I think I'm done with the talk. I'm over my time. But thank you very much. And if you have other questions, whatever, please feel free, and I'll be available afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas. Any question or comment?